What's up, guy? What's up, YouTube? We're on our way to get some breakfast at lunchtime. What do you think about that intro? Pretty energetic.
Pretty good.
Pretty 10 out of 10.
We're also gonna go do bottles. Woo!
Yeah, you can see all the bottles because we gotta do it. Anyway, I'm wearing a Star Wars hat. She's wearing a Star Wars shirt. That's irrelevant. Right now, we're making a video about fat people. What do you think about that? I reacted to a fat person video from Jubilee the other day. I don't even know if I posted it yet, honestly. But anyway, I thought it was interesting. And since we're fat, we were going to read the prompts. And we're going to answer them and have a discussion between ourselves. If you want to see my reaction, you go to my page, of course. This might be out before that, honestly. But anyway, let's start it off. What's the first prompt, babe?
The first prompt is being fat or skinny is a choice.
I feel like, it's like a yes and no question. What do you think?
Like, at the core, I would say that it's not a choice.
Okay.
For simply fat or skinny. Obesity is like a choice, but not a chosen choice.
Yeah.
Obesity comes, I truly believe that obesity comes from mental illness.
I do. I wouldn't go that far, only because I don't like to self-diagnose mental illness, but I will say unhealthy coping, oh my God, dude, Copenhagen. Unhealthy coping mechanisms, and also food just tastes good. I think that we're all kind of a product of our environment, not really a hot take. And part of that environment can be having bad eating protocols, whether it's stress eating or playing too many video games and not going outside, which I think is somewhat new for our generation. Video games are dope, but we kind of stopped going outside. There's also the social media fear of everything is scary now.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to let your kids out outside, so it's safer to put them in front of the TV. And I think all those things culminate into one. There's people, there are parents that are working a lot, and they might opt to go into fast food or prepared foods. I don't think that we're teaching food preparedness particularly well. We've had a societal mishap when it comes to the mainstream aspect of losing weight, which is like Biggest Loser. Oh, did you lose 13 pounds this week? Well, then you're a fucking dumb piece of shit if you didn't. Very toxic things. Instead of teaching people to build and make better choices, they try to force you to make perfect ones, which end up being very unhealthy. So I'd say in that regard, it's a choice. You make the choice, but you make that choice based on a bunch of kind of aspects in your head,
Yeah, and then also just some people, I don't know if it's geographically or whatever, but some people are just larger and some people are just smaller.
Yeah, it's all bones. It's all bones, guys. No, that is true. There is a little bit of difference between there. So yeah, like you said, it wouldn't say between fat and skinny because part of that is genetic. But between obese and underbeast, non-beast, the reverse beast. But that's bad. You don't want to be too skinny either. So yeah, I like that prompt. That was good. What's the next prompt?
I would rather be skinny than fat.
I would rather be fat.
I would rather be fat but not obese.
Yeah, I would rather be, I wouldn't want to be either of the extremes. I wouldn't want to be, what's her name? Eugenia Cooney. And I also wouldn't want to be one of the Sanderson sisters. I wouldn't want to live with myself. But I think
What the hell is a Sanderson sister?
Who's that? What? The Slanderson sister? 1,000-pound sisters?
Oh,
Sandersons?
I thought you were talking about Hocus Pocus. I'm like,
wait, what is the Hocus Pocus sisters?
The Hocus Pocus is the Halloween movie.
But their last names are Sandersons?
Yeah, they're Sanderson sisters.
What are the 1,000-pound sisters?
I have no idea.
Tammy Slater?
Slater.
Is it Slater?
Slater Slisters.
Slater Slisters. Okay. All right. I'm at a point now where I've been fat for so long. I don't think I ever want to not be fat, but I want to be less fat.
I look good with meat on me.
Yeah, you do.
So
Tastes
I'm
good,
not
too.
trying to I don't know. I don't have a number in my head, but I know that I do have a number in my head. I'm just not going to share it. But because I think that everybody would still be so unhappy with that number. Yeah,
no, the number I want is still pretty heavy. I just want to lose weight and be healthy. And you can be healthy while you're overweight. Will you be as healthy as if you were at an optimal weight? No, of course. But I'm looking to lose some weight and still be. That's part of my identity. I feel like at this point.
It'll also be so much better because we're so fat now that even if we still got to that fat weight too, at least the people in our personal lives will still think we're skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True that. So that would rather be fat because I'm just used to it. I guess is the answer for that one. What's the next one?
Okay, America has an obesity problem.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, but
No way. There's no way that
my
you could
thing.
not agree with that.
Here's my thing.
1000%.
Is that everywhere else also has a fucking obesity problem. So suck my dick about like, oh, Americans, blah, blah, blah. Because you got fat bitches everywhere.
That's true.
And now is a lot of it like our system? Most definitely.
Awesome
but
system.
like it's not just an American problem, and that's the part that triggers me because
Well, I think
America, you know?
I think that.
Oh shit.
What are you doing? Are you fucking? I'm gonna say a bad word at you. I'm gonna say bad words right now, dude. I'm fucking hyped. This guy with the fucking pickup truck. Are you kidding me? With that fucking small dick energy, you're gonna play some fucking game like that? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm triggered. America has an obesity problem. I think overall the world is getting fatter.
Yeah.
Even in not the greatest countries in the world, which is America, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's like the French ones. They're all right. Yeah, there is. I mean, part of it is addictive. Like I said before, a bunch of different like systemic problems. We're in a new generation of people that are on their computers and stuff, on their phones, not really interacting as much. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it.
I also think that there's like so many other foods in other places that are like banned or whatever. And it's like part of me wants to look into that, but at the same time, like it just seems like too much work.
Yeah.
Like all the red dye this, red dye that, you know.
Red diarrhea.
Like
yeah.
I can't have wheat things.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Well, you want to know what I think is another problem too? Is food is so fucking good. Like even like where it's just so good. It tastes good, but we also have so much diversity and variety.
Bro, I wonder if we would feel this way. I'm thinking it might be easier for us to lose weight if we lived in another state.
Maybe.
Because food in New York really is just supreme. Like it is so good.
Even the shit food is good. You
Yes.
know? So yeah, I mean I agree. I guess I kind of agree with that. But I love me a good buffet. I love to shove that in my anus. I love it. If we live in Pennsylvania, it'd be worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrible. Oh fuck. All right, what's next?
Fat shaming is worse than skinny shaming.
I feel like it's such an so there's two different ways to approach this question. The first way to approach it is that just the act of fat shaming being as bad as skinny shaming, and then the second way to approach this is like which one is more prevalent. Obviously there's more fat shaming in our society than skinny shaming.
Mm-hmm.
Like that exists in general. There are still people who get skinny shamed. I personally I think it's the same, you know, but like when it comes to severely underweight versus severely overweight, I feel like it's the same. I used to fuck with a kid because he was skinny. He used to eat sunflowers. He used to call him a bird. You know what I mean? It probably hurt his feelings. I didn't know that. But hey, listen. If you're out there, bird, why don't you eat some real food? What do you think?
I think that nobody should talk about anybody's bodies, but like, fuck skinny shaming. Are you kidding me?
Why? What do you mean?
Because fuck woof.
What do you mean? Listen, honestly, there are people who are like very skinny who struggle to eat enough in the same way that we struggle to eat too much.
Yes.
Or we struggle to eat not too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I imagine it probably really hurts their feelings when people are constantly calling them skinny.
Yeah.
You know, especially I feel like men maybe more. No, you know what? Maybe both. Because I feel like for men, when your peak masculinity, we were just talking before, you were talking about how sexy I am because I'm very masculine. And if I was very skinny, you know, you really aren't as if you're very skinny, you're not usually going to be as masculine. I feel like it's not easy. For one, if you don't eat a lot when you're growing up, you get smaller. You become a smaller person. You just don't grow the same way. You're not as masculine. Women probably look at you in like a little bit of I know we're in our femboy arc where everybody's like, oh, I like feminine, but like realistic, like all these girls who are like, I like the skinny guy. They don't. Listen, they don't like most girls like the masculine guy, even if they're dating a fucking feminine guy. And it's okay if you are. Your girlfriend's different if you're a fan of mine, of course. But they're sitting there fucking finger blasting to some dude that's kind of probably like a little overweight that looks like he can handle himself over their skinny little fucking emo boyfriend. You know, it's the truth. So I feel bad for them. And then for girls, if you don't eat enough, your titties get tiny, and guys like fat titties. And of course, all titties are beautiful. My wife's are the most beautiful. But I think that would be upsetting. And so maybe it's not just the skinny shaming part of it, but it's other stuff that comes along with it.
Oh no, the video went away. So I don't know the prompts.
It's fine. I can ramble. So, you know, that's the one thing. If you got a fat girl, she's probably going to have big fat boobs. And who doesn't like that?
Here's my thing. I mean, this whole little sexual rant you just went on, like,
Sexual?
I'm not very interested in. But,
That's so
I don't disagree with you on that. Making comments about skinny people's bodies would make them feel bad and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just not it's not important to me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, like, I feel like fat shaming, because even you think about all different industries, even the skinny people are being shamed for being fat. How many skinny
That's
people?
true. Like in the modeling industry.
Like how many skinny people's like fear is getting fat? You know, like people fucking like freak out about like getting pregnant and how their stomach is gonna look and how they're gonna look fat. Bitch, I don't even know if I'm gonna look pregnant once I get pregnant. You know, so I don't gotta worry about that shit. Like I'm not fearful of becoming.
I
fat.
get what you're saying. It's interesting. Like skinny people are afraid to be fat, but fat people are not afraid to be skinny. I get what you're saying. But my baby's gonna be fucking huge in your belly, so you won't have to worry about that. I don't know. Like I get what you're saying though. You're more connected to it. You're also a girl, so you probably experience more fat phobia as a girl. As a guy, nobody really actively said anything. I'm sure some girls passed on me for being fat, but it's not like the same. I never really got criticized on my content for being fat until now. If I make a joke about conservative stuff, they make fun of me. Like I made a joke the other day that something along the lines of like, oh, conservatives think trans people are delusional, but you believe in a God who puts the male pleasure center in the butt.
Yeah.
And he won't let me put something in my butt. That was a joke there. And people were very upset with that take, and they're calling me like dumb, and I'm a groomer of children, and I'm fat. So it's kind of funny. And but anyway, I had never really experienced it. But for guys, I feel like being too skinny is worse for guys than girls, and being too fat is worse for girls and guys. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I can be empathetic though.
The other thing I want to add is that I feel like I become more triggered on your behalf.
Why?
When people says like fat things about you.
Like what?
Because I'm calling everybody out from your video the other day.
I
was getting so triggered when you were doing a video about some kid. He sang the national anthem somewhere and actually didn't do too bad.
Airsoft Fatty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I know everybody was joking, but they were in your chat being like, oh, is this you from when you were 20 years old, blah, blah, blah. And I know those jokes are silly, but they just make me so goddamn angry.
Well, yeah, I understand. Well, for me, I don't care. But for you, this is one thing my wife gets ready to know about. When I get compared to Boogie, or I guess that guy, or Wings of Redemption, I think it's funny. But I think part of you, and part of me too, thinks that like you guys think I actually look like that. And it's like a funny meme because like we're all fat on the internet, but like objectively, I am not that fat. What? I'm
gonna be mean and I don't care because it's not about the looks thing. He's not a fucking fat loser.
Okay.
You know, it's like it just makes me so goddamn angry. It's a trigger just because he is my husband, and like I defend all the people that are important to me. But yeah, like people will like make jokes, even little jokes about that, about you, and for me that's upsetting. Yeah. And that probably comes from like my hurt of getting made fun of, or other people important to me getting made fun of.
I get that.
But that's my little rant.
Sometimes I get annoyed by it because, like, you know, not to be rude, but I'm 6'4", you know, I'm 340, but like I look better sitting down than any of those fat guys look standing up. And like some people won't get that, but some people will. Fat people typically fold like a bag of leaves onto the ground. Imagine putting about 80% of a bag full of leaves and put it down and it like smushes. We stand it up and it looks skinny here. You know what I mean? But like I look better than them sitting down. You know what I mean? So I know my camera angles don't do me justice, but you know, I
also thought that it was funny that like they kept on saying over and over again, like, oh, Papa got in his 20s. Bitch, that was like 3 years ago.
Well, and that's like late. That's like late 20s.
Yeah, I know.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Triggered wife.
I think people think I'm older. I've said I was 33 in a video, and people are like, damn, you're 33, you look like shit. And I was like, damn.
I don't think you do look like shit.
I think I look good.
Yeah, and when you shave your beard, it makes you look like a young man.
A young whippersnapper.
And I think this is the last question. Diet culture has positive effects.
Oh my god, we're gonna drive. My wife yelled at me. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Well, it tends to. Oh my god, I can't speak today. it depends on how you define diet culture, right?
Yeah.
There's two different aspects. There's one aspect of like dieting is good for you, and there's one aspect of like diet, like I guess like the toxic diet cultures. But fundamentally, I guess if you look at it historically, diet culture has been fucking abysmal dog shit. Like we were talking before, the Biggest Loser was like the premier thing. Like, oh, lose 10 pounds in fucking one day. It's like, that's really unhealthy for you. And teaching you how to crash diet and not maintain fad diets. And
well,
I think those are bad. Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that as a fat person who has been fat like pretty much forever.
You know what I'm saying?
Which, like, I used to cry about how fat I was when I was younger, and I wish I was fucking as fat as I was then. Because I would have been, like, for, like, a 28-year-old woman, I would have been looking good.
You know, it's so funny.
You know?
It's so funny because I remember I used to just take a Diet Coke to school for lunch, and I'd be so hungry that my breath would stink. I think I told you this. And then there was one girl who offered me a piece of gum one time. I was like, no, thank you. I thought she was being nice. She was like, your breath stinks. I was like, thank you. Ghetto bitch, you know, like, fuck you. But, you know, that's unfortunate. But like, yeah. That's one of the things too. It's like, oh, I'm just not gonna have lunch. Well, not having lunch.
Straight.
Okay, all right. Not having lunch doesn't make you skinnier.
Yeah.
It makes you binge later. If you don't have like a reasonable eating strategy, you're just gonna binge eat later. Which is one of the problems with like crash diets. Because if you eat too low, you're just gonna get fucking starving and just start cramming.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, as a fat person for like my whole life, that constantly gets unsolicited advice from people. All of the dieting culture that's even, and I don't trust doctors either. Everything that's offered to fat people is like things for quick results, because like, let's just stop you from being fat as soon as possible. That doesn't actually have like good follow through. It could impact your organ functioning and stuff like that. And it's like, like your obesity impacts all those things as well. But it's for me, it just really comes from that, like, I feel against it because they're like, let's get you as skinny as soon as possible.
Yeah, and it doesn't address the behavior.
No, and that's like the problem, like with Ozempic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want that.
No, well, you know, one of the reasons doctors are prescribing Ozempic, well, one is because it suppresses your appetite. But another one is like insulin pens. They apparently increase your hunger. That's what my doctor told me for mine. She's like, I want to get you on this because the Ozempic, so I can get you off the insulin. And I'm like, the fucking Ozempic's like $200-300 a month, motherfucker. Like, you think I'm going to go on that goddamn bullshit? It's fucking crazy. But it's just like, I don't like, it's not really going to address my eating control issues. I feel like he let like 4 people go.
I was gonna say, like, is there not a stop sign?
There's a fucking stop sign.
So weird. But even like the keto diet, like if you're not on that diet for like the rest of your life, if you go on and off of it, it like fucks with your kidneys and stuff.
That makes sense. It doesn't really. I mean, that kind of makes sense not having carbs because it's a lot of fat and stuff. Like it makes it for kidneys.
Like there's so many like little diets like that just they're not realistic.
Yeah, another thing too. Well, you have to eat like clean fats, I think. But another thing too is that for keto is that when you cut carbs from your diet, you lose weight fast because carbs are your water weight. They contribute a lot to your water weight. So if you stop eating carbs for a week, you might lose a lot. Like you might lose a lot of weight, but a lot of that will just be water weight because your body is just not retaining water. So you eat a carb again, and all of a sudden you're fucking inflating back up. Yeah. Because you introduce carbs, which is going to increase your water retention.
And that's why I always like lose weight like faster in the beginning of us counting calories. Yeah. Because for me, I still I want to eat as much as possible, right? Yeah. But I look at those calories of things, and I'm like, if this much of like a fucking cracker is gonna cost me 500 calories, but this much of like, I don't know, meat or vegetable will cost that much calories, I'm gonna not do the carb. So I wind up eating less carbs, and then it looks like I'm losing more weight. You go fast, and then but I'm just not holding all my water.
And then you get to a point where you're like, wait, why am I not losing as much weight anymore? And you plateau and you get upset. I get that. Yeah, I feel you on that one. That makes perfect sense.
But yeah, is diet culture like...
This guy's not even looking across the fucking street. Like, he just walked direct. I would never trust strangers like that. Anyway, sorry.
Does diet culture have a positive impact? I would say no.
No, it's not done the right way. There needs to be like an actual diet culture that teaches people about like nutrition in schools and cooking in schools and making better choices instead of perfect choices, and
Yes.
all this different thing.
Yeah.
Because it's weird, because there'll be people who are like lose some weight on TikTok, and they're like, here's what I ate, and they track their calories, and they slowly lose weight every week, and then people are like, wow, why are you having a hamburger, like, you fat bitch? And it's like, dude,
Yeah.
those comments are they're those comments, like those mean comments, are a little more destructive than you'd think. They can really beat you down. So mean comments suck. I don't like them either. Sometimes I get mean comments when I post stuff on fucking YouTube, mostly shorts. It's weird as fuck. These people are insane, and I go, that made me feel bad. You know, it's hard to forget it.
The other thing, though, is that I think, in my experience, like, being fat is just lose-lose, because then you also get shamed for, like, eating healthy.
Yeah,
You can't, like, eat something healthy casually, because somebody's gonna say, like, oh, are you watching what you're eating? Are you doing this? I told a story on our, like, old channel, I think.
Hey, little
But
pig.
when I went to my community college, I also worked there. And there was one time I went into the cafeteria to get lunch, and I got a salad. And the worker rang me up, and he looked at me, and he said, "You eat this?" I was like,
it's so fucked up, but it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate giggle. It's an unfortunate giggle on that one.
but like, so it's just a fucking lose-lose.
You're not supposed to take a left.
Don't yell.
It says no left, sir.
That upsets me when
I'm
you
sorry.
speak
It's like
in
a
that
joke.
tone.
It's like a joke.
I know it's a joke,
I
but
forget that.
I feel like
You get
on
upset.
camera it doesn't come across as scary as it is. I don't like
I'm
that.
sorry. I didn't mean to upset you.
And you made me forget. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. That's why I think that fat shaming is worse than skinny shaming. Turned into this parking
shit,
lot.
dude.
Because like it's just fucking like every single fucking thing. A skinny person, no matter how skinny you are and how much hate you're getting, you are going to get more praise for your body than a fat person would.
That's true, and nobody's gonna say, you trying to gain some weight? Most of the time, they might at some point. I also don't think that the people who are quote unquote I don't think that the people who are another thing is I don't think that the people who are skinny in our society are as dangerously skinny as other people like ourselves might be dangerously fat.
Yeah.
Like I don't like most. I would imagine most skinny people probably aren't on a few different pills every day. So that might be why the skinny shaming isn't as big. Because you look at somebody like we were talking about before, the fucking skinny girl.
Eugenia, she's.
But people fuck with her all the time. People make fun of her body all the time, and you know what I mean. So I feel like if there were a lot of people who were dangerously skinny like that, then there'd probably be more people. You know what I mean? Like then we would see skinny shaming as being worse than it is. But like a normal skinny person that, like I said before, that made fun of, like, who would eat some sunflower seeds and maybe he's like 10 or 20 pounds underweight. That's like the same as somebody who's like 20 or 30 pounds overweight. You know what I mean? So it's like nobody really fucks with them anymore.
Yeah.
Because people like us exist, and now we take the criticism, we shield them with their fat bodies, and then those fat people that aren't that fat, they're like ourselves as children, where we thought, well, that used to be so fat, and people used to make fun of you. But I remember when I was 220 pounds and I was self-conscious, bro.
Bro, I used to cry when I was 185.
That's fucking.
I would cry hysterically.
I was 220, and that's when I was drinking Diet Cokes for lunch. Now I'm fucking 340.
No, I was 185, 186, because I specifically remember the conversation with my friend Andrew where I told him how much I weighed. Now, I was rather large because I was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
But I was the same height as I am now.
No, that's what I'm saying. So was I. I was the same height.
So, like, yeah, when
for
you
a
put that
long
on,
time.
like, an 11-year-old, yeah, it sounds much. But that's what I'm saying. As a 28-year-old, I would be too skinny.
Yeah, well, when I was 13 or 14, I was this height. Like, I was pretty much. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, 220 at fucking 14. Like, oh, that, like, bro, I should be if I was 220 now, it'd be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's like fucking insane. So, anyway, that was a fun little one. Maybe we'll do some more stuff like that. And yeah, I love you guys. Goodbye. Oh, you know what? Let's complain at the end of this video. Fuck it. Where's the shirt? Give me the shirt. Give me this shirt. Listen, we went to Disney. I'm going to complain about it in the next video too. This shirt we got from Disney was $90. Okay? It's, Jesus Christ. It's like a Disney 100 years of sucking my dick. Okay? You understand? This thing used to be covered in sparkly glitter. Oh, it was so beautiful. It was majestic. It's why I spent $90 on this fucking asshole. And guess what? Washed it once. She followed the directions to a T. All the glitter's gone. Pissed me off. What are you doing? Sucking ass. Disney, bitch. That's what I'm saying. Just like my damn fanny pack that ripped apart, like the seams came. My mommy fixed it for me. Still, she's like, they barely stitched this inside. You know what I mean, Disney? What are you doing? I'm gonna come over there and give you a fucking stone cold stunner. We're gonna go eat some food. That's not a stone cold stunner. That's like a punch. I love you guys. Goodbye. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.
I love you too. Okay, that terrible.